Tonight on Cronkite News, the executive order dismantling the Department of Education and what this means for Arizona students.
Plus, the newest innovative translating technology being used in Tempe that translates 30 different languages almost instantly.
I've gotten so many messages from my friends and family, past players that I've coached.
And find out more about the basketball coach taking the country by storm for her accomplishments on the court. Today, President Trump issued an executive order to dismantle the Department of Education. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Dawi Gibber-Mariam.
And I'm Emily Fox-Millian. Thank you for joining us.
The president signed the order late this afternoon at the White House, but there are still many questions about how it will be implemented. Cronkite News reporter Caitlin Humphrey joins us now from the newsroom with more on the potential impact of the order here in Arizona.
The president's order directs Education Secretary Linda McMahon to close the department and return all education authority to the states. There have been talks about this order going into effect for weeks, and the uncertain future has caused many to question how are Arizona students and educators going to be impacted. Some are also concerned about the structure and funding for special education programs that have long relied on the Department of Education's oversight.
And that, I think, is a big fear among families and advocates.
Amanda Glass, an attorney with Disability Rights Arizona, spoke with us about what we may see with a federal shutdown. Glass says the Department of Education plays an important part in ensuring that protective measures are in place for students with special needs.
Having these government entities providing the oversight, providing some low-cost enforcement has been huge, and proposing to get rid of the Department of Ed in many ways will decimate that and push things not just to the states, but onto individual families to have to self-advocate.
Despite the concerns raised, the Trump administration has been adamant that this change will improve education quality, student success, and spending.
We're going to be returning education very simply back to the states where it belongs, and this is a very popular thing to do, but much more importantly, it's a common sense thing to do, and it's going to work.
Arizona Superintendent Tom Horn is also on board with the president's plan.
Title I will continue, special ed will continue, and so on. It's not the programs that benefit kids that appear to be on the chopping block. We could do the best job of implementing the federal programs if the federal department doesn't do it, and we can do a much better job than they can do.
According to the Associated Press, completely dismantling the Department of Education would require an act of Congress. It's not clear at this point if that would happen, but we do know at least 7 Democratic senators would have to join all Republicans in order to advance any legislation. In the newsroom, Caitlin Humphrey, Cronkite News.
Meanwhile, data from the National Assessment of Educational Progress shows that Arizona's math scores have been aggressively declining. Arizona is tied for 5th place when it comes to declining math scores in students. The state is tied with Minnesota, New Jersey, Alaska, and Oklahoma, all seeing math scores declining by 16 points. 4th graders in Arizona dropped by 6 points, while 8th graders dropped 10 points over the past 5 years. Every state saw a decline in test score averages. All of the score changes are from 2019 to 2025. Workers in the education sector are attributing this drop in scores to a lasting impact from the COVID-19 pandemic.
Embracing diversity is a top priority for the city of Tempe, and in an effort to make sure everyone's voice is heard, city officials have launched a pilot program using translation devices to break down language barriers, and it's powered with AI technology. Cronkite News reporter Ripley Simone Kennebrew gave us a behind-the-scenes look at these new devices.
There are over 30 languages spoken in the city of Tempe: Navajo, Chinese, and Arabic, to name a few. And the U.S. Census Bureau estimates that 25.2% of Tempe's population speaks a language other than English. To help lower language barriers for citizens who aren't English fluent, the city is pilot testing instant language assistant devices for real-time translation.
For the pilot, there's 3 devices. One's at the Escalante Multi-Generational Center, and there's one device at the city manager's office to be used during Tempe City Council meetings or with the neighborhood teams that go out. And then there's a third device. It's on a monthly rotation. About mid-March, it's going to move to the Tempe Public Library.
The devices, created by Translate Live, feature voice-to-text functionality.
Tengo fiebre y problemas para respirar.
And are equipped with accessibility features for people with hearing or communication challenges. The translation device is super simple to use. All a guest has to do is choose their language, for instance, German. And on the back side, the host can translate anything they need. For instance, how can I help you today? And on the back, real-time translation back into German. The devices are even dialect specific, offering a choice between Mexican Spanish and Venezuelan Spanish.
If you come with a language that it just isn't one of the 250 plus languages it has, it connects you to a live translator.
There are many uses for devices like these because language access is crucial. According to the Tempe Municipal Court in 2024, 22 language interpreters were provided for residents. The court also found that Spanish, Arabic, Mandarin, Farsi, and Somali are the most frequently used languages in the geographic area. Accurate translation of all languages is necessary with these devices, so bilingual city staff members have tested them out.
We have staff that are verifying that speak the dialect. We've had another group verify the Chinese, and another team is working on verifying the Spanish. And so there hasn't been any big gaps in between what the tablet says and what is communicated.
This program is fully funded by the City of Tempe as a part of its broader efforts to promote accessibility and inclusivity. The city says by removing language barriers, all residents have equal access to the services and support they need. In Tempe, Ripley Simone Kennebrew, Cronkite News.
The pilot program began in February and will run through October. All residents are encouraged to try the devices and share their feedback. Coming up next, it's the third annual Showdown at the Desert.
That's right, the Showdown is bringing some of the best show choirs in the country right here to the Valley.
We start to see more and more show choir develop and the choirs elevate. People are really starting to recognize Arizona as like, wow, we have really good vocals.
Stay tuned after the break to learn more about what this competition means for those interested in show choir.
I'm Ariel Nelson, and it may be the first day of spring, but we've got some temperatures that feel more like summer. Come back after the break for the full weather report.
That was Stellar FX, a group competing in the Desert Show Choir competition, finishing their rendition of Gilligan's Island. This year was the third edition of the competition, which took place at Boulder Creek High School.
And this year, there were more schools competing in the event than ever before. Cronkite News reporter Ryan Posesnik was there to see the various show choirs sing a few tunes and bust out a move or two.
One for the singing. 2 for the dancing. 3 for the cheering. And you have a show Showdown in the desert. From an island where you can find Gilligan to Barbie dancing the night away. Show choirs from schools across Arizona and California showcase their talents in front of a packed crowd.
It's really elevated the level of show choir in the Valley, as you saw today. I mean, it used to be that this really wasn't a thing around here, and now we have some top-tier show choirs.
Performing a show choir set in a competition like this takes a unit. So when the time comes to step on stage, singing the right note, where shadows are watching you, and dancing to the right beat are crucial for how these schools are scored.
The first one is always tone quality. What is their tone quality? That you know, if it's supposed to be it's and not ah. And then the same thing applies in choreography. Is it precise? Do they have good technique? Does the style fit? Are they where they're supposed to be? Those kind of things.
Compared to its first year, this year's Showdown has doubled in size. A total of 8 choirs competed in the inaugural event in 2023, but this year that number has risen to 17. For competing out-of-state schools like Palm Desert High School in California, the growth of show choir across Arizona has been noticeable.
I think that Arizona is a powerhouse state for all the amazing show choir stuff that y'all are doing. You've got amazing directors, amazing choreographers, amazing choirs. I mean, this is where it's happening on this side of the country.
And the hope is that it continues to become a platform for other states to join in the action.
I'm glad that California is recognizing our circuit that's starting to begin and being a part of it, which I think is going to help elevate all of us and take us all to the next level.
Besides the competition, the Showdown in the Desert is also a great opportunity for students to form relationships with others who all share the same passion for performing.
Sit down and shut up.
I think that being in show choir with people is just like such a bonding experience because you're all performing this set, and our sets always just send like a special message about, you know, like togetherness.
In the end, it takes a complete team effort. And the Showdown in the Desert is the show for schools to come together to produce one powerful force. In Anthem, Ryan Posesnik, Cronkite News.
Thanks, Ryan. And you know, the winner of the competition that made me want to get out of my seat and start dancing was Step on Stage from Horizon High School.
Finland is the happiest country in the world for the 8th year in a row, according to the World Happiness Report. And while things look great over in the Nordic state, things aren't as cheerful back here in the U.S. The United States ranked 24th, the lowest ranking yet for the country. Experts suggest that young Americans are feeling worse about their lives, living standards, and ultimately their freedom.
Today marks the start of spring, which means higher temperatures are on the way to the valley.
While the worst of the heat is still to come, you can already feel that heat starting today. Ariel Nelson joins us now from the Weather Center with what you can expect.
Thank you, Emily, and happy first day of spring. But for right now, before we take a look at those higher temperatures that we'll see later on this week, let's look at the rest of the evening. Around now, we're going to be in the mid-70s, but by 10 o'clock tonight, we're going to dip down to 67 degrees. Now, despite a lot of people thinking that Arizona doesn't get cold, we do have some cooler temperatures tomorrow morning. 44 degrees in Page, 40 degrees in Payson, 50 degrees in Casa Grande, and 47 degrees in Phoenix. Now on to those warm temperatures that everybody has been asking about. We're looking at a high of 60 degrees in the Grand Canyon, 69 degrees in Prescott, the high in Arizona at 87 in Yuma, and a high of 84 degrees in Phoenix. So certainly a warm day ahead of us tomorrow. Like I said, we're looking at a high of 84 degrees tomorrow with a low of 53 degrees. And even as it gets cloudy on Sunday, we're looking at a high of 88 degrees. The rest of the week isn't looking too cool either, because by Tuesday, we are going to be hitting 20 degrees above the average high temperature for this time of year at 98 degrees with a low of 64 degrees. By Friday, we are going to make it back down to 87 degrees. With the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Ariel Nelson.
I'm Paisley Poole with a preview of tonight's sports report. We'll check in on the D-backs during spring training, plus we meet one of the voices of the Cactus League.
Hi again, everybody. So very glad to have you with us on an absolutely perfect day for baseball.
water was really important to us. Without enough water, we can't farm, we can't eat, we can't live. And the way we're doing it right now, straight up doesn't have a future. I went to ASU because this is a place where you solve problems. With vertical farming, we can grow the same amount of food with 95% less water than traditional farming. The work I'm doing at ASU is changing the way I look at the world.
The scientists and engineers that support the next mission to Mars could be in this class.
Getting a degree at ASU is a journey that can take you anywhere. Into a world of groundbreaking technology and renowned award-winning faculty. Professors who help you to impact the world. Whether you're on campus or at home, becoming your best starts with learning from the best.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me. So I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer. I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Paisley Poole. The Suns hosted the Chicago Bulls last night at PHX Arena and had another impressive outing, beating the Bulls 127-121 as part of their last-ditch effort to secure their spot in the NBA's play-in tournament. The Suns came out with an explosive offensive effort, scoring 63 in the first half. Heading into the fourth quarter, the Suns had an 18-point lead that would later be cut into prompting another potential Suns collapse. But Devin Booker's 20-point outing in the fourth quarter, including 7 crucial points late in the game, would seal the deal for the Suns, making it the first time the team has won 2 in a row since January. With the win, the Suns have earned themselves a spot back into the play-in tournament due to the tiebreaker they hold over the Mavericks. With 12 games left, the Suns' fate is in their hands going forward, with the Mavericks trending in the wrong direction. If the tournament started today, the Suns would head to Sacramento to take on the Kings. And while the Suns are focused on making the playoffs themselves, it doesn't mean they can't enjoy some March Madness on the side. Among the Suns' 18 players on the roster, 14 of them attended schools that are in this year's March Madness tournament. According to Sun center Oso Ighodaro, the locker room is all in on Michigan State this year, but Ighodaro has had to remind them they still got to get through his alma mater in Marquette.
We got a lot of Michigan State guys around here, and they keep talking about the second-round matchup, but at Marquette, we just take it one game at a time, man, you know what I'm saying? So they're already looking in the future. We're trying to take care of New Mexico first, and then we'll worry about what's to come after that.
And while the tournament has already begun, March Madness for the state of Arizona officially tips off tomorrow, with Arizona and both of GCU's programs beginning their championship hopeful runs. Number 13 GCU is heading to Seattle to take on number 4 Maryland in its 3rd consecutive tournament appearance, and is looking to play spoiler in a game where they're underdogs once again. Meanwhile, number 4 Arizona is facing off against number 13 Akron in what should be a high-scoring affair between 2 high-scoring offenses. The most anticipated game, however, is the GCU women's first-ever tournament game in program history. The Lady Lopes are the only Arizona representation in the women's bracket and will face off against number 4 Baylor. GCU head coach Molly Miller has brought her team to national prominence. Her journey comes as no surprise, as Ben Paris reports. Miller has a long history of winning.
Molly Miller is taking her GCU women's basketball team to the NCAA tournament for the first time in program history. And she'll bring a huge following to Waco, Texas for their first-round matchup against Baylor.
I've gotten so many messages from my friends and family, past players that I've coached who are probably going to make the trip down to Waco. That is what the sport is about.
Miller's one of the more popular coaches in the tournament and is no stranger to success. Growing up in Springfield, Missouri, Miller won 2 state championships as a player at Kickapoo High School then went on to play college ball at Drury University under coach Nyla Milson.
I have to say without a doubt that she was the most competitive player. I coached 36 years and the most competitive player I've ever coached.
During Miller's playing career at Drury, she won 2 conference titles and left as the school's 3rd all-time leading scorer. She would later return to the program as its coach, leading the team to 5 straight Division II NCAA tournament appearances during her tenure.
I had those role models growing up with Nyla and my dad. They just did it so masterfully. And for me, it was just, you can see the payoff of that in the end.
Now Miller's GCU Lopes enter the NCAA tournament with the nation's longest winning streak at 30 games. The Lopes are looking to make noise in the big dance with Miller leading the way.
Being here since I was a freshman and seeing her in a strong woman's role, it's very encouraging, and, we look up to that.
And while Miller's team is in the Grand Canyon State, her loyal fans in Springfield, Missouri will always be on her side.
On GCU game days, they would have their purple on. So I know there's a lot of Grand Canyon fans here in Springfield.
And the fan base is growing in the Valley as well. In Phoenix, Ben Paris, Cronkite News.
We'll see if Miller and the Lopes can pull off the first-round win against Baylor tomorrow. The Diamondbacks are exactly 1 week away from opening day, and while the team is still making roster moves, one decision has been set in stone: the opening day starter. The Diamondbacks were warming up for today's game against the A's as the Cactus League comes to a close this weekend. Manager Torey Lovello named Zach Gallen the opening day starter, but did not give the rest of the starting rotation. Despite the season signing off ace right-hander Corbin Burns, Lovello is sticking with the same opening day starter he's used since 2023.
At the end of the day, Zach's been here for a long time. I have a very strong bond with Zach. He's seen some darkness here. He's come out the other end. He said, thank you. That really means a lot to me. And I'm going to go out there and give you all I can.
Spring training is always a special time for fans who can get up close to their favorite players. It's also a unique experience for the announcers calling the games. Cronkite News reporter Andres Armenta talked to the voice of the Padres about the nuances of calling for the Cactus League.
Hi again, everybody. Alongside Tony Gwynn Jr. and our producer-engineer, Dave Marcus, I'm Jesse Agler. So very glad to have you with us on an absolutely perfect day for baseball in the desert.
It's some of my fondest baseball memories are those spring trainings. Those were our opportunities as kids and as fans to go see major league players, minor league players. That's why I always tell fans, you got to get out here. You got to give it a try because it's as good as it gets.
Growing up in South Florida, going to spring training games was common for Jesse Agler. Now, in his 12th season calling Cactus League games for the Padres, Agler's gotten to know the desert almost as well as San Diego.
It's very, very familiar. Every year when I come back here, it's as if I never left. There's a real soft spot in my heart for the Valley as a whole.
Broadcasting these games, though, bring their own challenges.
These games really are so different than the regular season games, but some of the principles of broadcasting are the same. Part of the job is finding those storylines, trying to make these games compelling and interesting.
Certainly appear to be a major strength for the 2025 Padres.
Even getting basic information on certain players can be difficult.
Honestly, it just turns into a big Google race.
On deck area left side.
Just try to get, some basic information out there about the guy.
Sam, a Torrey Pines High School guy, played at USD, born in South Korea.
Jesse's love for broadcasting began as a kid, and today, many young fans share the same feeling.
I loved listening to games. I considered the announcers when I was a kid to be just as exciting and interesting as the players, but it still blows me away that other kids might think that about me, and it makes me feel very special. It's a great reminder of what we all do means a lot to a lot of people, and that's a super important thing to keep in mind.
In Peoria, Andres Armenta, Cronkite News.
And that's it for the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Paisley Poole, sending it back to you guys at the desk.
Coming up, the defending NBA champions are under new ownership.
That's right, the Boston Celtics have been sold to a Massachusetts native. Find out how much the team was sold for and to who after the break.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me. So I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer, I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
Innovation at the Walter Cronkite School is pushing the boundaries of traditional journalism.
Storytelling has evolved over the years. This is part of that evolution.
Students in the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Lab are using emerging technology to create scenes in augmented and virtual reality, coding playable games, and bringing the audience into the story.
They're only limited by their imagination and their willingness to learn.
Find out more at cronkite.asu.edu.
Big news in the world of Boston sports. The Boston Celtics ownership group has agreed to sell the team for a record $6.1 billion.
Yeah, that's right. The sale breaks the record for the largest sum paid for a North American sports team, previously set by the sale of the Washington Commanders in 2023.
Massachusetts native William Chisholm has bought the defending NBA champions. The deal will need to be approved by the NBA Board of Governors before it can go through.
That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Dowie Geber-Mariam.
And I'm Emily Fox-Millian. Thank you for joining us. And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.